Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at another terrible case with you. He was a father and husband, and was meant to love and care for the lives of those handed to him. But he turned out to be the same person who ended their lives. Why would a family man give in to the inner demons constantly whispering to him to end the lives of those he called family? On that day, nothing could stop this man from brutally murdering the people he loved the most. Not their cries, not the fear and terror that filled their eyes as he murdered them. Nothing. He had already made up his mind. This is another story reminding us that a seemingly ordinary person can have the darkest motives brooding in their hearts, and even the most unsuspecting person can be a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. Our love and respect goes out to all those who knew and loved the victims of the Oda family, and all those affected by this case. On March 10th, 2024, a tragic event happened in a quiet neighborhood in Honolulu called Manoa. Paris Oda, a 46-year-old man, took the life of his family. He stabbed his wife, Naoko Oda, and their 3 kids, Sakurato Oda, their 17-year-old daughter, 12-year-old Orion, and 10-year-old Nana Oda, and then proceeded to kill himself as well. Oda used a kitchen knife to fatally stab himself and his family, and ended up single-handedly wiping out the entire Manoa family. The police in Honolulu took charge of investigating this sad and heartbreaking event, and they concluded that this mass killing was the second deadliest murder in Honolulu in almost 25 years. Oda, the head of the family, was a chiropractor, which means he helped people with their backs and necks. He had an office near a big shopping center called Ala Moana Center. If you looked at his Facebook, Instagram, or any other social media pages, you would think he was a peaceful and calm person. But in 1997, when he was a teenager growing up on the beautiful island of Kauai, he meddled in a little bit of crime. He entered someone's private property without permission, and he got in trouble for it. But he presumably learned his lesson, and the crime was erased from his record after he avoided other forms of trouble. It was a Sunday morning when the police received a distress call. The caller reported hearing screams coming from a house on Waloa Place. The police rushed to the scene, arriving at the Oda family's home at 3622 Waloa Place. It was early in the morning at 8:34 a.m. When they got there, they couldn't find the person who made the call. The officers walked up to the house and knocked on the door, but no one answered. They listened carefully, but there was no sound of screaming. They even asked a neighbor if they had heard anything, but the neighbor said they hadn't heard a thing. Everything seemed quiet and normal, so they felt it could have been a false emergency. Little did they know something was very wrong.
Real. A father accused of murdering his 3 children and wife, and then turning the knife on himself.
The police officer wanted to get some more information, so they tried to call the 911 caller back. But there was a problem. The caller's phone number was from another country, and the police system couldn't call it back. This was a limitation that the police were working to fix, but it meant they couldn't follow up with the caller right away. So, the officers did the next best thing. They carefully searched the area around the Oda family's home, looking for any signs of trouble. They made notes about what they saw, and then they left the scene. It was almost 9 a.m. by the time they finished up and headed back to their patrol car. Just 15 minutes after the police left the Oda family's home, the 911 caller phoned again. This time, an officer hurried back to the house in Manoa. When they arrived, they found the caller standing outside, waiting for them. The caller was a woman who rented a room from the Oda family, and she was clearly very troubled. Her hands were shaking, and her face was pale. She had seen something that had left her deeply disturbed, and she needed the police to know about it. The tenant took a deep breath, and with her voice shaking, she began to tell them what she had heard. She had been in her room, fast asleep, when she was woken up immediately by screams. It was sometime between 2 and 2:30 in the morning, and the screams were loud and terrifying. She froze, her heart racing as the screams grew louder and closer. The screams were coming from right outside her door. She quickly locked herself in, too afraid to open the door. and then she saw something that terribly frightened her. She saw blood seeping under her door, spreading across the floor like a dark stain. She felt trapped, too scared to come out. She waited until she couldn't wait anymore, then climbed out of her window. The police officers rushed to the scene she told them about immediately. They reached the front door, but it was locked, refusing to open up despite their efforts. They looked through the window and saw a person lying motionless, unresponsive to their calls. The officers knew they had to act fast. They made their way to the back door, their guns drawn, and cautiously entered the house. What they saw was gruesome. Oda lay in the hallway, his body covered in stab wounds, surrounded by a pool of blood. He was dead, and the officers knew that they had walked into a crime scene.
They were able to see an unresponsive person through the window. They called out to the person but received no answer. Officers entered through the back door and found the unresponsive male laying in blood in the hallway. He had stab wounds to the chest and was deceased. He was later identified as the suspect, 46-year-old Paris Oda.
The police went into the house, room by room. They were looking for clues. That was when the police found Naoko, Sakurato, Orion, and Nana murdered. The police saw that they had tried to fight back and that they had cuts on their hands and wrists. The police felt that they must have died because of their injuries. They probably died a few hours after it happened. The police also concluded that the incident took place around 2 or 2:30 in the morning, according to the tenant's statement. It was around that time that she heard screams and tried to call the police. It turned out that Oda had been struggling with financial problems for a long time. In 2023, he was in deep trouble, and in February 2024, he confessed to his wife that he hadn't paid taxes in years. He told his relatives that he would rather die than go to prison for not paying taxes. He even said that he wanted to kill his family and burn down their house. Oda had texted his wife in February, saying they needed a plan to do it and take their children with them, because he believed no one could take better care of them than himself. This will be discussed later in this video, so stay tuned. Oda also attempted to buy a gun in March, but that didn't work out for him. Despite all these warning signs, Oda was said to have never been violent before, but you never know the real intentions of a man who feels inadequate and useless to his family. And on that fateful morning, something went terribly wrong, reflecting his original intentions. On a Friday afternoon, Lieutenant Dina Thoems from the Honolulu Police Department stood in front of a crowd of reporters. She was there to share some important information about the investigation the police had been working on. She stated that after they started looking into the life of Oda, they found out that he was struggling with money problems towards the end of 2023. Oda had been having trouble paying his bills on time. He was behind on his car payments, tuition, and loan payments. He confided in a family member, saying that he felt responsible for fixing the problem. He also shared his worries with his wife, and together they tried to make some changes to get back on track. But unfortunately, their financial struggles continued. As the months went by, Oda tried to sell a second property he owned in Aiea with the help of a real estate agent, but even that didn't seem to help. In February, he revealed to his wife that he hadn't paid taxes in years. His chiropractor business was also struggling, and he didn't have enough patience to keep up with the bills. To make ends meet, he even started driving for Uber.
In February, Paris' concerns increased, and he told his wife that he had not paid taxes for years. He was not getting enough patients at his chiropractor business, and he started to work as an Uber driver.
The police investigation uncovered all of these details, and Lieutenant Thomas shared them with the public that Friday afternoon. Remember that earlier it was stated that in the middle of February, Oda sent a text message to his wife that they needed to plan to do it, and it was something that he thought would change the course of their lives. He told her they needed to make a plan they had discussed before, a plan to end their lives and the lives of their children. Oda was at a breaking point. He felt like he couldn't go on, and he believed that no one else could take care of their children as well as he could. He thought that if he and his wife were gone, their children would be lost too. His wife, Naoko, tried to be positive and encouraging. She suggested they start fresh in Japan, where her parents lived. But Oda was too exhausted, too drained. He felt like he had nothing left to give. After that, he started to pull away, becoming quiet and distant. This was a turning point in their story, a moment when the struggles they had faced for so long became even more overwhelming. The police would later find this text message, and it would become a crucial part of their investigation into what happened next.
In the middle of February, Paris texted his wife that they needed to plan to do it. He said he could not take it anymore, and he told her that their children needed to come with them because no one could take better care of them than he could. Naoko tried to be optimistic and encouraging with Paris. She suggested that they move to Japan with her parents.
As March arrived, the financial worries grew. Tax season was approaching, and he felt overwhelmed. He discussed selling their home in Manoa with a realtor, hoping to find a way out of his financial struggles. But Oda's anxiety and fear took a dark turn. It was at this point that he confided in relatives that he would rather die than face the shame of going to jail for unpaid taxes. In a desperate and alarming statement, he also threatened to harm his own family and burn their house to the ground.
Paris's financial distress heightened in March as the tax season approached. He told relatives that he would rather die before going to jail for unpaid taxes. At that time, he also said that he would kill his family and burn the house down.
It was around the same time that Oda reached out to someone with a chilling request. He wanted a gun, but the person never responded. Hawaii News Now talked to Annette Oda, the mother of Paris Oda. Annette said that her son grew up on the beautiful island of Kauai, and that the family is struggling to understand what could have happened. When the interviewers asked Annette if she saw any signs that something was wrong, she didn't want to talk about it. This is a very sad story after all, and the family is trying to make sense of it. As families searched for answers, Oda's chiropractic office in the Pan Am building was closed. A former patient, Martha Randolph, was shocked by the news that he had harmed his family. She said that there was absolutely no sign and no indication that Oda was going through such a dark time, not even one word out of place. She added that she trusted him completely, but he could have twisted her head off. She had no doubt whatsoever that she was in good hands, but now is terrified to find out he could do such evil to his own family. A neighbor and friend of the family had some fond memories to share with Hawaii News Now. He said that Naoko would sometimes help out at her husband's chiropractic clinic, and that the family was very excited about Sakurato's upcoming graduation from Iolani School. They were even exploring college options for her, both in Hawaii and on the mainland. Sakurato had big dreams as she wanted to become a nurse and a great cook. The mother and daughter duo were quite the team. In 2019, they even ran the Hapalua Marathon together, finishing just 3 places apart. On a certain Monday, Hawaii News Now spoke to many people in the neighborhood where the tragic event happened. Most of them didn't know the family very well, but they were all deeply affected by what happened. One woman was so sad that she cried all day. The neighbors couldn't understand how such a terrible thing could happen. Irvin Yoshino, one of the Oda family's neighbors, expressed how tragic the entire situation is, and the fact that everybody is feeling it because it feels like part of their own family is gone.
Dense.
Tragic. Everybody's feeling it, and everybody's just, it feels like part of your family. We go on our walks, we go down there and we see the kids riding their bikes, skateboard.
Another person who talked to Hawaii News Now said he had a feeling something was wrong. He stated that something didn't feel right and that he could see something was off. According to him, they seemed sad.
One person says he sensed something was wrong.
Just didn't feel right seeing the kids walk past us throughout the week, making eye contact. I could see something in their eyes that they were sad, couldn't figure it out, and then seeing this on the news.
After the unfortunate event, the schools where the victims studied wanted to help their students and staff deal with their emotions. The 3 schools on the island of Oahu offered counselors to support those who were grieving. Iolani School, where Sakurato was a student, sent an email to parents on Sunday night. They invited students, teachers, and staff to come together and share their feelings. They even had a special early morning chapel service. Orion, the 6th grader, attended Sikh's charter school in Nuuanu. The school's leader reached out to parents to let them know that crisis counselors were available to help their children work through their grief. Nana, the youngest, attended Manoa Elementary School. The Department of Education sent a letter to parents offering a crisis intervention team to support the school community. All 3 schools decided to help their students and staff deal with the loss of their friends, students, and classmates. They wanted to make sure everyone had someone to talk to and a safe place to express their feelings. Britt Young, a therapist who helps families, said that parents need to talk to their children about what happened, but they should explain it in a way that's appropriate for their child's age. Britt said that younger children, like those in elementary and middle school, might feel scared and worried. They might think that if a person could hurt their own children, someone could hurt them too. Parents can help their children feel better by reassuring them and talking with them. With older children like teenagers and young adults, parents can have a more open and honest conversation. Britt suggested letting them ask questions and answering them in a thoughtful way. This can help them understand and process their feelings. Just being present and offering comfort can make a big difference, Britt said. Parents can help their children feel safe and supported by talking to them in a way that works best for their age and needs. By listening and offering comfort, parents can help their children heal and feel better.
Naoko Oda attended Iolani School. Counselors went to all of her classes today to assist students and teachers who were struggling with the news. She was a senior set to graduate this summer. The 12-year-old Orion Oda was a 6th grader at Sikh's charter school in Nuuanu, a very close-knit group of students and parents there. Counselors also offered support to them. And the youngest, Nana Oda, attended Manoa Elementary School. The DOE notified parents that a crisis intervention team was there for anyone who needs help. Because the victims range in age and grade, counselors handle it differently at the various campuses. It's important to note that the adults will also be affected, the teachers and faculty.
Intense reaction of like anger perhaps and grief for perhaps a family you didn't even know. I'm so angry this could happen. Who would do that? So it's not like we're adults and we just handle it completely, we process it without going to that angry place. It's normal to feel angry. It's normal to wonder who would do this.
For children struggling with this, Young suggests talking to the younger children without too many details, but also listening and letting them ask questions, even if it's questions you don't have answers to. With the teens, an open dialogue and sometimes just comfort can be helpful.
On a Tuesday evening, the Waikiki community came together to mourn the loss of the lives that were taken too soon. Hundreds of people gathered on the lawn of the Waikiki Shell to remember and honor the Oda children, Sakurato, Orion, and Nana. The organizers of the vigil wanted to create a space where those who knew the Oda family could come together, share their grief, and support one another. It was a chance for classmates, friends, teammates, and teachers to also pay tribute to the 3 siblings who they knew as friends and classmates. As the evening came in Waikiki, the crowd gathered on the lawn to share their pains and sorrow and their memories of the Oda children. It was an emotional evening. People were crying and hugging those who needed comfort, and stories of the impact that Sakurato, Orion, and Nana had on those around them were being shared. Even after more than 2 weeks since the tragedy, many people were still struggling to accept what happened. Matilda Tamasisi, who played soccer with Nana, said, that it's terribly hard for her to believe what happened. She explained that even small things, like seeing a soccer field, can bring back sad memories and make her cry again. A GoFundMe page has been set up to raise money for the Oda family's funeral expenses. Taurus Manzano, Oda's eldest daughter from a previous relationship, and her mother, Annalyn, are organizing the effort. They hope to raise $100,000 to cover funeral and legal expenses. The community is coming together to support the Oda family in any way they can. What are your thoughts on this case? What do you think provokes people to do such a horrific thing to their own family? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you want to see more videos like this, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so you can stay updated on our latest true crime videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.